This program is brought to you by thepodcastfactory.com.
Hey, Doberman Dan here. We're doing something a little bit different today. This is what is called a rerun, but a rerun of a really important podcast episode. One of the top 3 most popular since I started doing Off the Chain with Doberman Dan. It's with my friend and email copywriting, marketing extraordinaire, Ben Settle, talking about what a great title, How Not to Be a Pussy in Your Email Marketing. So it's a great episode. Even if you've heard it before, it's definitely worth a re-listen. Check it out.
Prepare yourself for the uncensored, nothing held back, no BS reality of how business and life really work. Doberman Dan is Off the Chain.
This is Ben Settle of bensettle.com and bensettleshow.com, sitting in for my friend, my colleague, my confidant, the esteemed Doberman Dan Gallipu, which, Jonathan, I think that might be the first time I've ever pronounced his last name right.
Well done.
So this is the reason you're hearing from me right now. I don't know if Dan prepped you for this or not or anything like that, but I had this idea a couple months or maybe about a month ago because we have the same producer Jonathan. And I said, Jonathan, it'd be kind of fun. It'd be kind of fun if I hosted Dan's show one day and he hosted my show one day. So I don't know when he's going to host my show, but I'm sure he'll let you know. And it would be kind of interesting to do that, to kind of mix things up a little bit. Dan has his own way of like teaching and doing. In my opinion, nobody rants better than Doberman Dan. Like to me, like, man, my favorite rant of his is about the American medical system. I mean, there's nobody will rant, but I always said he should have his own radio show because that guy can rant. I wish I could rant like that. I'm going to try though. I'm going to try, Jonathan.
All right.
I'm going to give it a shot. So I asked Dan, I said, look, what do you want me to teach your audience? Because, I don't know you guys. I'm sure there's some overlap, Jonathan. There's got to be some overlap, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So, some of y'all listening to this, you already know me. You always know my antics and all that. Everybody else who's never heard of me before, or maybe just heard of me but never actually heard me. This will be a good taste.
Brace yourself.
Kind of an idea, so to speak, of what you're going to do. He asked me specifically, the word for word, he goes, well, how about you teach how to not be a pussy in your email marketing? So I thought, that sounds like a great topic. And I like to think that I push things in my emails a lot more than most people. There are people who push way farther than me, by the way. I'm like not even close to being the most extreme person you can follow with email. But that is what I mostly do is I teach email and copywriting and all that. But I'm primarily an email specialist. But more so than that, I actually teach people how to write in one email a day and that's it. You're done for the day. You make all your sales, 10 minutes and you're done. To me, it's like I'm like a bum who gets paid because literally, and I was talking to Jonathan about this on one of my shows recently, that if all I had was 10 minutes a day, I could have a very thriving 6-figure business right now still. Because really, that's all I need to do is write that one email a day. So I'm like a bum who gets paid. A bum rattling a cup of change on the street works harder than I do. So that gives you an idea of what I do. If you have any interest in learning from me and what I'm up to, you can always go to my podcast at bensettleshow.com. I have a print newsletter that I don't sell through that show, but I give the first issue away as a PDF. It's called Email Players. It's a $97 a month newsletter. That's what it's worth. And you get the first issue free if you opt in at my podcast at bensettleshow.com. Jonathan, I'm done plugging. I know that you guys don't want me doing that. I got to make a
correction, man. You said that's what it's worth. And I think that what you meant is that's what it costs or retail value because it's worth 100 million times that for all the money you've made for all of us.
Well, that's true. And, Jonathan, let's run with that for a second. When someone gives you props, this is a lesson for everyone. And we didn't plan this, but it might sound like we planned it, but we didn't plan it. Someone gives you props, say, why'd you say, tell me more about that. What happened? Like you gave me a testimonial about that first issue, right? It was like, you made you like $1,000 in a day or something.
I wish it was remember. A day, but it was a little bit later where I would have my $1,000 days. But at the time I wasn't making any dough online. Like I was lucky to make $1,000 in a month. And I got that first issue, put the stuff to work. And I had about $1,100 in sales in the first week. And from then on, I was addicted.
Oh, all right. Now we're talking. And you would agree that What I teach you, and when you're doing it now, is that I'm not going to teach you how to be a pussy with email. I'm going to teach you how to not be a pussy with email. Like the stuff that you probably do now is like you never thought you would do an email before. I'm guessing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and just amps it up to another level. I never thought I'd email so much. I never thought I'd say the things that I say, and I never thought I'd make so many sales.
Well, and that's, really at the end of the day, sales is the, scoreboard, right? So
key metric.
All right. So what I'm going to do here in this brief episode, because I know Dan's shows only run like 15, 20 minutes, I guess. I'll try to keep it in that time. That's about what I try to do too on mine. I recently got a very nasty, I wouldn't say nasty. It was more just like a pissy. Let's say pissy. It wasn't nasty. She's just being pissy. Review for my podcast because, I'll let you read it here. But I'm going to read you the email. I'm going to read you an email I wrote in response to that 1-star review, which is a good, by the way, hold on, Jonathan, before I even go further, let me explain something else here. I'm a big fan. One of the things I like to do in a couple hours a week is I like to train in what's called Wing Chun Kung Fu. Now, in Wing Chun Kung Fu, one of the things that you do is you take when they attack you, you take their energy and you use it against them. So it's like they throw a punch at you. You're actually going to position yourself in a way where you're going to hit them about 10 times harder than they hit you. That's just the way it goes. I apply this to email as well. Whenever I get some hate mail or some jerk mail or whatever, just some stink mail, I like to reprint it like as soon as possible and address it so that I can take their negative bullshit and actually turn it into sales. So that's what I'm doing with the email I'm about to read you now. The email I'm about to read you now is an example of how you cannot be a pussy with email, which is what Dan wanted me to teach you. And then I'll expound more on why and how this thing works. So basically, you're getting like an inside look at how I write emails and how I do it in a way where I really don't care what anybody thinks. So that being said, here's the email. The subject line was, "And so she walked out of my life forever." Now, by the way, Jonathan, I don't know if you saw when I sent this email.
Yeah.
But the original subject line was, "I think I hurt someone in the feels." I wanted, but for some reason I thought it would be more funny to use the other one. But I'm thinking I should have went with the feels one. I think I hurt someone in the feels. Really, that's the subject line I should have used in hindsight. So anyway, here's the email. "Behold, a podcast review of sandwich making proportions." And then I'm going to read her. This is her iTunes review by Smart Female Entrepreneur. That was what she called herself. "I've been listening along for a few weeks and enjoying the podcast. Today, I tuned in to listen to a misogynist tirade about females being the weaker sex who use Facebook to share emotional posts and generally don't have business sense. I'm fine with a little tough love towards those who have no filter on social media or those who can't seem to help themselves get started in business. But associating those negatives with the female sex, and only the female sex, is wrong and pathetically misogynist. Hopefully this man's sales suffer for this."
Oh.
Now that was obviously a 1-star review, which actually I liked because it kind of balances out all the 5-star reviews and all that. But I just thought this isn't in the email part. I just found this funny. She was listening for a few weeks and enjoying it, but then there was just like one little 4-minute bit, which is what she's kind of shrieking about here, which actually she didn't even listen very carefully. And suddenly it's a 1-star review. So remember, John, that we talked about like what a 1-star review, like for books, for Amazon or iTunes, 1-star reviews, most 1-star reviews are usually like 2-star reviews because an honest 1-star review would find no redeeming value whatsoever in something. Yeah. So anyway, okay. So I quoted that email and I quoted her review in my email. Now the email continues. "I think she wants me, but alas, her and I are not meant to be." By the way, originally I was going to say, I wonder if she puts all this passion into making sandwiches, but I don't know. I think I wanted to tone it down just a little bit. Here are a few reasons why. Now, again, I'm going to take her email and I'm going to turn this into sale, or her review, her negative review, and turn it into sales. 1, I have never said women generally have no business sense. Just the opposite, in fact. And I sure do get a lot of testimonials from females and do a lot of business with females, which I do, for a bloke who supposedly thinks that way. Did the devil make her lie about that in her review? Or could it be the feels created a monster where none exists? Number 2, a lot of women do emote on Facebook, which is perfectly fine and normal. Unfortunately, so do a lot of guys looking for sympathy-based sales, likes, and attention, which was the point of that bit. Now, Jonathan, I'm going to interrupt this for you. Remember what they were talking about? It was the $7 sociopath podcast one, and I was talking about guys. So that whole 4-minute banter was picking on guys, the male sex, not the female sex, and only the female sex, quote unquote, what she said.
That's all she heard.
Girlfriend
apparently.
Yeah, that's what she heard. Her rationalization hamster basically created a monster that wasn't there. Like, because some people just have a victim mentality, or they're just drama queens or whatever. And so it is. And none of this surprised me at all. So I continue. Girlfriend needs to focus, because obviously she wasn't paying attention. 3, the word misogynist has zero effect on me. It's as abused, misused, and overused as the 100+ other ism words these days, which is very true. 4, regarding women being the physically weaker sex, why would that simple biological, historical, and easily verifiable fact give her acid reflux any more than it would to a man by telling him women are better multitaskers? Unless, of course, she's eagerly looking for reasons to be offended. 5, the incoherence of the last part of her review about filters and associating negatives, yada, 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 makes me wonder just how much that 4 minutes of the 27+ minute episode must have rattled her cage. All right, enough ice cream for the soul. I wish I had Smart Female Entrepreneur's mailing address. If I did, I'd send her a complimentary issue of the upcoming February Email Players issue. Why? Because not only does it give a rare and detailed look into El Bembo's love life, but it also shows how I lead my relationship and how I apply the same principles to my emails and marketing, as well as to my business customers and, when I had them, client relationships too. Definitely an experimental off-script issue, and there's not much hard email teaching in it, although I use the principles inside the issue in all my emails, including in this email you're reading. If and you want in before it mails, go here today, www.emailplayers.com, signed Ben Settle. So, Jonathan, I think you and I could agree that most people would be too scared to send an email like that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, even though I could have taken this much farther if I really wanted to, but I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to do it just to be a dick to her.
Yeah.
That's not my, that wasn't the point. Was to make sales. Okay. That's like, so when somebody sends you a nasty review, or it could be a Kindle review and a podcast, it could just be hate mail you get from your list. It doesn't matter. Take that and spin it the way I answer it. Give your side of the story and then segue into what you buy. That's an example of how not to be a pussy with email, which is, I hope, what Dan wanted me to teach. So here's some lessons you can pull from this. And, some of these are obvious, but some of them I don't think are too obvious, especially guys. So I'm going to pick on guys here, Jonathan, because guys are the ones that really need to hear some of this stuff. A lot of times girls they don't do what I'm saying you have. It's weird. I think girls are actually more naturally better at not being pussies with email. And because guys are afraid of offending girls. Like, they're not afraid of offending you. Okay. I promise you, they are not afraid of offending you, nor do they put you like, and I'll go through these now just so this all makes sense. So here's the first thing. Don't apologize. Okay. Stop apologizing. Don't even for something you like, especially if it's something you didn't do and somebody's like trying to get you to apologize, don't do it, because once you apologize, it's all over from there. I'll give you a real life example. There's this guy, Sir Tim Hunt, who was like a Nobel Prize winning physiologist, like 2001 Nobel Prize winner. He was giving a talk to some people. He's in England, and he made a joke about girls, like girls in the lab. They either want to have a relationship with you, or they're always crying, or he said some kind of joke like that. And if you listen to the whole context of what he was saying, he was actually making fun of guys. Like, I can't go into the whole thing, but you can find this easily on Google. And yet there was this one like low-class jackass chick in the crowd who then tweeted that this guy's hates women and all this stuff. And suddenly it spread like wildfire. And this no good piece of crap chick who did that, she really is. She's like a total fraud. They found out and everything. She basically she caused such a firestorm with this that all of her stupid social justice warrior friends all jumped in on it, and they pressured the guy to resign. And the idiot, now this is where Sir Tim Hunt went wrong. He was kind of an idiot because he apologized for something he didn't even do. He should never have apologized. And he should have said, "You're going to have to fire me. I am not resigning." And made them ante up, because the stupid university was idiotic in doing that. Like, he didn't do anything, And so it's just like, that's an example. Now, that's an extreme example. Okay. But I'm just saying, like, don't apologize. Like, if somebody's trying to get you to apologize for something, they have an agenda. Okay. Just don't do it. If you need inspiration, let's just watch freaking Donald Trump. That guy could say, "I murdered my mother," and he won't apologize for it. Okay, he'll spin it some other way. It doesn't matter. And I'm not pro-voting Trump or anti-voting Trump. I'm just saying he's a master at this. He never lets anyone, he does not apologize for anyone. And look how well at the time of this recording, at least, look how well he's doing. Okay, he's not, because he doesn't apologize. Now, take all these other guys who are always apologizing. Someone starts apologizing, that's it. Watch in politics. If someone starts apologizing, they're done. And so it is in business and your email. Stop apologizing. When you're writing an email, don't apologize unless you're doing it, unless you really did screw something up and you got to like own it. But I'm saying for things you didn't really do and you didn't do anything wrong, and don't most people would address this person by saying, "Oh man, I'm sorry. I never would have said that in my podcast. I'm so sorry." Oh God, it just makes you want to throw up. Don't put people on a pedestal either. So I was telling you that girls naturally don't do the things I'm going to tell you not to do, so you don't sound like a pussy in your emails. Girls don't put guys on pedestals, but guys are always putting girls on pedestals. And guys especially always putting their customers on pedestals. Oh man, that customer your customer is no better than you. Your client is no better. In fact, the math is on your side. Understand something. You're the one that should be on a pedestal. Okay. Put yourself on a pedestal, because if you put somebody on a pedestal, the only way they can look at you is by looking down on you. Think about it. You put them on a pedestal, they can only look down on you. They cannot look up to you. And if you're selling something, you need to be a leader and someone who people want to follow in your niche. And nobody's going to want to follow someone if you're putting them on a pedestal. So, for example, the math is and I talk about this on my own show a lot. The math is on your side. Okay. If you have something valuable to share with the world, okay, whether it be a product or a service, the math is on your side. There's less supply of you or what you have than there are of people who need it. So why are you putting anyone on a pedestal? And why are you apologizing for stupid things that you didn't even do just because someone shrieked in an iTunes review or something? So don't apologize and don't put people on a pedestal. Just doing those two things alone in your emails, you will never sound like a pussy in your emails, I promise. Don't be afraid to have some fun and be a little politically incorrect. I know some people will take this to an extreme. I think you should just be yourself. I really do. I think you should just, if this is how you talk to your own friends and family, and that's the tone you want to have with your customers, then just talk like that. Now, if you're trying to have a professional image, because maybe you're dealing with a more professional clientele, obviously you're going to want to tailor it around that. But email is one of these things that it's not supposed to be this formal writing. Okay. You don't need to be formal. You don't need to be perfect. In fact, you should not be perfect. You should just write like you're thinking. It's an outpouring of emotion and thought, and you're going to put it out there and you're going to sell something, and it's not going to be perfect. So what if you make a joke? So what if I say this is a comment of sandwich making proportions? Who cares? If somebody's so uptight and wound up so tight, like that iTunes reviewer, that's going to just turn them off forever, do you really want them as a customer? I would hope not, because that's someone who's going to be a pain in your ass for the rest of your life. Don't be afraid to shamelessly sell. Obviously, you saw what I just did. The close was 25% or more of the email. I segued right into it, and I'm going to sell something. That's the whole point. The point of an email is I'm not saying you shouldn't build rapport and all that. A good email will do that. But at the end of the day, you should be selling. You shouldn't be afraid to sell. And the only people who are afraid to sell are pussies, okay, when it comes to emails. Seriously. Sorry if I know that's going to offend. Oh, look what I just did, Jonathan. I've already apologized for something. No, but just do not let that get to you. Just sell, okay? Every email, you're going to give them a good show. You're going to put on give them some kind of valuable information, or you're going to entertain them or something, but then you're going to sell. Don't be afraid to shamelessly sell. Don't be afraid of people. Don't be afraid of people calling you names. How many times did that, Jonathan, I didn't count it, but how many times do you think she dropped the word misogynist in that review? Probably 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
Whenever somebody calls you, here's something to think about. When somebody calls you a name that ends in ist or ism, okay, that's the first resort of a very weak, insecure mind. Okay, because they don't really have an argument. They don't have any substance. So I'll just label them this. It's funny. There's this meme I saw, Jonathan. I love this. I saved it on my phone. I thought it was so funny. And it's like this rainbow, this cartoon drawing of a rainbow, and this little cartoon drawing of Hitler going down the rainbow. And it says in words, "Everyone who disagrees with me is a Nazi." No, everyone who disagrees with me is Hitler. It says the emotional child's guide to online debate or something like that. And it's true. Like, that's the first resort. Oh, you're a Nazi. Oh, you're racist. Oh, you're this. You're sexist. That's all they have. Believe me, you do not need to be catering to people like that. Let them go haunt somebody else. Because if you cater to them, you're going to end up attracting more of them. And by them, I mean people who are looking for reasons to be offended by every little thing. And I'm just telling you, you're not going to like it. The result will be a very unhappy you and an unresponsive list. What you want are people who like you for who you are warts and all. Be you. Don't be afraid of people or what they'll say. And learn how to agree and amplify. This is something from this is something the pickup artist community uses, Jonathan. We were talking about that recently.
Yeah.
Let's say somebody calls you a name, right? Let's say they call you, you're a misogynist. Well, don't even try to defend yourself. Just amplify. Say, you're damn right I am. Now go get me a sandwich. Something like that. Just run with it. Okay. If somebody's asking you to walk on eggshells, just smash the eggshells. It's much more fun that way. And finally, don't be afraid to call people out on their bullshit. Okay. Just like what I just did to the reviewer. I have no idea if she read it. She never did give me her address for the free email players issue. That sounds creepy. She never did give me her address. But the reality is, calling people out on their bullshit, they may not like it at first. True, I get comments like this every now and then, Jonathan. Someone will say, I hated you at first. I really didn't like you. But I realized you were just like the person calling me out my bullshit, not letting me get away with excuses and all that. And the good customers will appreciate you for that, even if they don't like you. It's not about being liked. It's about being respected. And if you do these things, and if you don't be a pussy in your emails, the way I just showed you, your list will respect you more and they'll buy from you more. So I don't know, Jonathan. I hope this is what Dan wanted me to teach. I guess I'll be finding out soon enough. And I appreciate everyone who's been listening to this and listened all the way through. I don't know how much overlap there is on our respective shows, but if you want more of my show, if you want to listen to more of this, because if anything, Jonathan, I was probably pretty tame in this one, go to bensettleshow.com.
Nice. Well, that was quite interesting and quite informative, and I think it was quite useful. So thank you for that, Ben, and I'm sure Mr. Doberman Dan is going to be happy with it, and I'm willing to bet that the Canine crew is going to love it too. So thank you, Ben.
All right.
Hope you enjoyed today's show. Canine crew got a special treat for you, what we are affectionately referring to as the Off the Chain Hotline. Tell us you love us. Tell us you hate us. Ask questions. We don't care. Just call 321-424-6043 and give us a piece of your mind.
This is thepodcastfactory.com.